Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I am going to talk about something related to my previous subscriber episode. So, of course, you should all subscribe. My most recent subscriber episode 2 days ago was never having two sexual encounters in a row or two orgasms in a row is a huge red flag if you're dating. And I talk about that lack of doing it again. And what does that mean? What does it portend for your relationship? That's my most recent subscriber episode. And in that, I think I said this line, and then I thought that maybe I should expand upon it, that just having an orgasm does not mean it was good sex. And I did a little video about this, and it seemed like that was a complex topic that confused some people, so then I wanted to clarify what I meant. All right, so of course, having an orgasm is better than not, right? So having an orgasm is great. That's better than not having an orgasm, except, of course, in the case which I've discussed in an earlier podcast, the benefits to men of not having an orgasm in every encounter. And that's actually related to some of what I'm going to talk about, where there is a benefit and enjoyment of building up, of building up before a release. And many men, the male clients, have said that it's better for them in different ways to not have an orgasm in every encounter. And this is on the internet, and men make TikToks about it and what have you. But anyway, let's just not get into the weeds with that, because there's another podcast about that. But point is, here's the point. If you are good, if you know your body, then you can have an orgasm. This is why women can have an orgasm with a vibrator, and it wasn't like a life-changing transcendental experience, You just go to sleep. And same thing with men, obviously. Men can just masturbate and go to sleep. And it's not like it's not like the angels are singing in heaven every time you have an orgasm when you're masturbating. So, and everybody kind of understands that. But it's the same thing with sex, right? So it's not like every time, like if you're used to somebody's body and they can do the quote right thing, then you can have an orgasm. And many women are actually using the vibrator during sex, which I've talked about is kind of distancing, because would you like it if he needed to use a pocket pussy or whatever? Probably not. But point being is that in that case, it has like very little to do with the guy at all. And she's just having an orgasm at the end of the encounter, with the vibrator, the same as she would if she didn't have sex with him, And either way, even if he could give her an orgasm, so let's say he learns to give her an orgasm, big shit. I mean, yes, your body can do that. If you understand your body, then you can do that. And for some women, it takes longer than for some men, but that's really only if the man doesn't understand what he's doing because you've never told him what to do. So the reason that men can have an orgasm easier than women in encounters and the orgasm gap and all this stuff is because women don't say things like, here is how you do it, and this is what we should do, and we should do this after. If you come too fast, then we should do this anyway, and this is how you do it. In the exact way that I do it with my hands, or that I used to do it, or whatever. And if they did, then there wouldn't be an orgasm gap, because you can have an orgasm. Now, as you get older, of course, testosterone levels go down in women more than in men, because testosterone is responsible in conjunction with estrogen, progesterone, etc., for sex drive in women as well, which is why adding testosterone to hormone replacement therapy frequently is the missing link for some women, and for some women you have side effects with it. But either way, testosterone is a big driver, and as you get older and go through perimenopause and especially menopause, it's harder for some women to have an orgasm. It's also harder when you're on an SSRI and other medications. So there are reasons that it can be difficult. But the point is that men, they can have sex, like they can have intercourse, and that's going to stimulate their penis in such a way that they can have an orgasm. For women, intercourse does not stimulate them to have an orgasm, so they need the man to do something else, whether it's manual or oral. And, frequently women feel shy or awkward about saying that, and so therefore they don't have an orgasm. So then that's really bad sex, right? So if you can even have an orgasm and it's bad, then if you don't have an orgasm, it's pretty bad. But many women will still like it because you're close. And I have a podcast, Is It All About the Orgasm? Yes and No. And I talk about some of this. But the point is you could still have bad sex and have an orgasm. Just because you have an orgasm doesn't mean it's good sex. So if it's like if you're having like 5-minute sex and you hold the vibrator against her, or you learn what to do with your fingers, and then, you have sex with her penetrative for like 3 minutes, and you barely kiss, you barely touch, you didn't talk to each other, there was no closeness that day. Well, just because she had an orgasm and you had an orgasm, who cares? You might as well have masturbated in a sense. So it's fine to sometimes have quick encounters like that if it makes you feel close. If it does, then disregard. Don't disregard if you think that your spouse may not be feeling close. But if both of you, after those, 6-minute encounters where both have an orgasm, are like, that was awesome, so glad to be here, go team, then great, then disregard. But there's a lot of times where the woman says to me that the guy thinks that just if she gets off, then it's a good encounter, and it's not romantic, it's not slow, there's no foreplay, there's no build-up, there's no edging. The guy doesn't even know that women can do edging. This is funny to me because so many guys have like hour-long masturbation sessions, but they don't imagine that the woman would want more build-up as well, which is, she's also a person, but that's just a lack of education. This is why I tell people to watch the videos that Heather the sexologist does, the female arousal one, etc. You can buy those on my site. But point being, it's also the same for men. When the woman thinks that just because he had an orgasm that it was good sex. I hear that all the time. Well, he likes it, he thinks we have a good sex life. It's good for him at least. That's right here. It's good for him at least because he gets off. Meanwhile, the man's the one who brought them into couples therapy. He hates it. Like, it's a 3-minute encounter. She wants him to get it over with. He's envisioning something else. Or just like nothing in order to kind of stay in the zone, because it's so boring and it's so depleting to interact with somebody who just wants you to get it over with. But many men pick that over nothing. So they think, well, if I complain about sex, or if for some reason I didn't have an orgasm, then that would, make her not even want to do it at all. So then I'm just going to persist with this, which is something that I tell guys to stop doing. I mean, if she's not into it, and you're acting like everything's okay, how the hell is she going to know everything's not okay? Men have much better success rate when they're having intercourse and they stop. They're like, you don't really seem into it, Something that you may not have been able to do when you were a younger guy, then it was more all about the orgasm. But as you get to be older, having boring sex with a woman who acts like she doesn't want to be there, even though it's consensual, if you can show that you don't care, that literally you will stop, then that is truly putting your money where your mouth is there. And she's frequently like, wow, I had no idea even that he could do that. Because especially if you met when you were younger, then you were more reactive and you wouldn't have ever stopped. And it was more all about the orgasm when your drive is even higher. But of course, doing that takes a man to be self-aware and not to be a huge narcissist that's trying to convince himself that he still has the sex drive of a 25-year-old when he's 50. But at 50, you should be able to stop sex. I mean, all the time, of course, you should be able to stop sex if the woman says stop. But I'm just saying, when you're 25, if the girl's like, kind of just laying there, first of all, you don't know any better. And second of all, you yourself are more into it. Like, you are physiologically more into it than a guy who's 50 that's with his wife who's 50 that doesn't want to be there. Should be easy for you to say, let's be done. And when you are, then you're putting your money where your mouth is. And then she may really be like, wait, what? I thought it was all about the orgasm. I thought that like in a couple minutes you would have your orgasm and that's good sex. And then you could be like, no, it isn't. In fact, I'd rather not have an orgasm and have you really be into it, which is tremendously shocking for many women, especially if they were raised sex negative. That is like almost every guy that I talk to who's obviously old enough to pursue therapy on their own for their marriage. So obviously I'm talking to people in their 30s and up. Almost all of them say that they would rather have have the woman have an orgasm than them have an orgasm if they could only pick one. Because that's exciting. That's you did something. You made her aroused. You made her excited. Versus your orgasm is a physiological thing. Of course, it's best to have both. But if you could only have one, most guys say hers would be more exciting. women are shocked by that. If you are in a marriage where you don't talk about sex openly, and she was raised not to talk about sex openly, then this idea is transformative to her, because she's like, wait, I don't understand. I thought basically I'm just loaning you out my vagina out of being a good pal, and then I get my vagina back, and then we're good. And then you're like, no, it isn't like that. It actually has to be a connected experience, because the orgasm really isn't it. It's not the whole point for me. And even just saying that could be totally marriage changing, and it's also marriage changing the other way for women, because the guy thinks that they're having sex that's, quote, good, and he's an attentive lover and what have you, but it's extremely boring. Like, you would have no idea. I mean, I'm just telling you now, so you would, and I've been writing about it for years, but many women want more adventurous sex. They want something that's more erotic, kinkier, if that's their blueprint, more sensual. They want something that's more romantic, more just erotic than just like the same old stuff all the time. So in the couple that I write about in my book on Amazon, the couples you meet in counseling, I talk about the annoyingly satisfied husband and the wife who wants more. And in that dynamic, the woman frequently is the one who wants better, longer, more erotic, more interesting sex. And the guy's just like, whatever, we both had our orgasm, that's good sex. So it's basically the partner with more of an erotic imagination may feel bad, if it's just like wham bam and we both have our orgasm. And so this is something to talk to your partner about, because they may literally not even know. They may be one of the many, many people that thinks that if you have an orgasm, it's good. And if your partner had an orgasm, then that was like, basically these people think about sex dichotomous. Do you have an orgasm? Yes, it's good. Did you not? No, it's bad. So they think as long as the person has the orgasm, then it's good. And there's a whole sexual world out there to explore, and that's not just like that. And in fact, rushing through it to get to the orgasm is upsetting. And it's also something people do when they're very anti-sex, by the way, because they hate being aroused. So then they try to rush to the orgasm as quick as they can, because they feel a lot of shame about even having sex in the first place. So having conversations about sex is difficult, but that's what we do in couples therapy. And that is the only thing that's ever really changed sex lives, is communicating about it. How else are you going to try something new? Why else would you try something new if you don't know what the person thinks about the stuff that you're already doing, and what else they might like? All right, I hope you like this PSA, and I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great day, guys. And if you ever do need a therapist or a coach, of course, reach out to us at bestlifebehavioralhealth.com. Bye-bye.